Hello, welcome to Grow Your Strength. I'm going to get started with a breathing position. I like to start all my training this way just to integrate my mindset, my nervous system with my biology. Just try and get into a comfortable position, micro adjusting, posture, low back curve, perhaps chin tuck, shoulder blades. Oh, feels good just to get here. And then just focus on some deep breathing in and out through the nose if possible. As you breathe in, you create intra-abdominal pressure below your lungs, lies the diaphragm muscle. And as it contracts, there's an expansion of pressure down here. You can feel as you breathe in. And as you exhale, everything just recoils. This is a great way to start thinking about integrating your breath with your pelvic floor and all of your core muscles. Inhale, expand. Exhale, recoil. And there is a bit of a natural recoiling as you breathe out in all directions. In, up, cylindrical. Often with training, I'll say take a deep breath, to protect your back or to create some intra-abdominal bracing to stabilize your pelvis and back as you lift something. And so practicing the breath in this position is a good way to start thinking, okay, I can get a deep breath and create that stabilization. It also improves your breathing depth when you're not thinking about it. Okay, let's move on. Cat, cow. Take yourself to hands and knees and just take some time to have enough distance between your hands and knees that you can start to round your back up into flexion, dropping your head down. Slowly starting your low back, moving your front side towards the floor. Can you go slow enough? You can feel each section of your back, dropping your chest to the floor, moving your shoulder blades together and looking up. I like to start in my low back again as I round my back up to the roof, slowly moving through each section, pushing the floor away. And you can go back to deep breathing as you go through some cycles of this. Gift your back this movement, nice and slow. The better your flexion and extension is, I like to say, the better all movements will be. And one more cycle of that, and we'll take ourselves to the back and work into some knee bends and some ankle mobility. And from here, I'm just going to take some time to adjust my posture, bend the knee, pull it into the shoulder, give my hip a little stretch, and then find a place to extend the knee. And if you have to back the leg off to get the leg straight, then please do. About 5 of these. Got my chin tucked, my back feels good, and my non-working leg is straight. But if that doesn't feel good, you could always do this work a little easier on the back to have the knee bent. So about 5 of those movements to start off with, please. After your 5, hold the leg out in the extended position, open up the toes, spread the toes, and just check that your leg is straight as you start to move through the ankle, pulling the toes to the shin, pushing the heel to the roof, get a good extra stretch, and then point the toes to the roof, get that stretch through the front side of the ankle. Starting the ankle rolls, sole of the foot rolls to the inside, and then take it to the outside as far as you can access and go through some different angles. See how I'm pointing my toe now up to the roof? Really good idea to explore different angles, get some range of motion in your ankle, and then take it into some slow circles, trying to keep the leg as still as possible. And today I'll take us into a hip stretch as well. So keeping this focus on my right side, I guide my right leg across the center line of my body, and I'm trying to keep my right hip on the floor. I can feel a pretty intense stretch up through my back side of my knee and my hamstring. And I'll bring it back. I'll show you this way. I'm just guiding my leg across. I can feel a good stretch. You could hold it in the lengthened position, the stretch position, or you can pulse in and out of that a few times. If it's quite intense, then just back it off a little bit. Intensity about 4 out of 10. And oh yeah, try not to hold your breath. If it's that intense, back it off and try and add some breath cycles. Okay, so I'm switching up to the other side now. I'm just going to take some time to readjust my posture and then start again with the knee bends. Take some time to find that place where you can fully extend the knee. I know I see a lot of people doing this, like that's their full extension or they're too close to their shoulder. So back that off, extend the knee out, find the range you can access, and put all these tissues under stretch. All right, so there we go. Now, same routine as we did on side one, spreading the toes, going slow enough that you can access your full range, rolling the sole of your foot in and out, different angles. Taking it into some circles. And then across body. How does it feel compared to the other side? Some days might be a little bit different. Personally, today this feels about the same. Getting a good stretch, adding some breath cycles, just feeling that deep into the hip. I'm going to take us from here to half kneeling position. And in the half kneeling position, I just want to level out my hips. Take some time to bring the posture upright and slowly start to pulse forward. Knee tracks over the middle of your foot. And as I do that, getting a little stretch in through my thigh and front of my hip. I'm trying not to arch my back as I go into this, so just floating the posture. After a few straight, we'll take it out on an angle and just pull the heel in so you can get some good stretch through your ankle and knee as you sink into that, maybe a little bit in the hips. And then I'm going to push the foot further away and then sink into that. That really gives you a sense of stretch through the hips and pelvis. Before we switch sides, just take the front foot somewhere that you feel can hold you quite steady in a balance, and we'll spread the fingers and go through the double shoulder warm up, taking some time to bring the arms up to the range you can access. Again, reminder not to lean back, just open up the arms to whatever distance, I guess, you can get to without leaning and opening up. This takes a little bit of concentration, a little bit of patience to go slow. I've rotated my palms back, and now I'm pushing my arms back and bringing my arms down to the sides of my body. You can take one hand up into the small of the back and just try to tap somewhere through your shoulder. And then slowly rewind, opening up the fingers. Feeling out both sides. Ooh, caught myself leaning back a little. So just restack that posture, looking straight ahead. There we go. Okay, so switching sides, leveling the hips, finding a place that you can get some pulses, knee forward. I was just thinking to myself, like I think I've said it before, is like slow shoulder cars or slow anything is hard in the morning right after your cup of coffee. But I just read that coffee is so good for you. Once again, you know, you read stuff like that. So if you do drink coffee, it's now the time to quit. All right, out to the side, pull the heel in. Oh, there's so much information out there. What to do, what not to do. A little confusing sometimes. Leg out. Got to do your best. How about that for a solution? And then back to a slow shoulder cars on this side. Okay, lots of focus, looking straight ahead. Breathe. Really opening up my hands, lengthening my fingers. Looks great. Hands up the small of the back. Touch, touch, rewind. Kind of get that sense of both sides. Wonderful job. Okay, we're going to return to hands and knees and go into some opposite arm and leg reaches with different angles. So I take some time to set my back neutral, tuck my back toes, and then here's a lift off with the hand and knee. I'm not going for a full reach, but here I'm holding it and talking, so I'm still breathing, bringing it back in with control, and then matching the angle that I did on side one. See if you can return to nasal breathing. You could certainly hold this for 1 or 2 breath cycles if you had the control. We'll do that 3 different angles per side. So returning to side one, check that my back is neutral. So as I lift off, I don't want to increase the arch of my back. Stable through my base, hand, and shoulder. There's a slight bend in my elbow. I'm not locked out in my elbow. Whew, that was a little longer. Takes a fair bit of focus, but you're working the back side of your postural line, your core, back side of the core. Breathe. And then we'll do one more. I'm going to go for more of a full reach out, turning my palm in. And then my thumb to the roof, fully extending my knee and pushing through my heel. And then just that little sense if I collapsed it all through my base, hand, shoulder, neck position. Try not to let that head drop. And other side. Bring it back in. We'll go to frog rocks. So frog rocks, take the knees a little wider than the hips, and you can turn your toes out to start with. And as you sit back, hips to heels, you want to try and keep your back relatively neutral. So I'm not trying to round my back up at all. This somewhat mimics a squat in standing. As you sit into hips to heels, let's get a sense of how that feels. You can shift the weight over to one side. Wake up anything that's tight in your inner thighs. I'm feeling a little something there for sure. And in this program, I extended one leg out to the side, rolled the sole of the foot on the ground, and did about 5 rocks with the sole of the foot on the ground. The leg doesn't have to be straight out to the side. It can be further back, and you might need to adjust your hands and down knee to get that back position stable, so that as you sit back, you're not rounding your back up. You're just kind of trying to keep that neutral back, and that really provides a lot of stretch in through there. Now here's the second part. As you rock forward, lift the heel. As you rock back, lift the toes. And this provides some rotation deep in the hip. Just finding the end range that you can access on both those angles. About 5 rocks, and then you go ahead and switch sides. So find that place, foot flat, adjust the hands and back. Sitting back, getting a stretch response and pulsing out of it. Nice deep breathing as you go through this. 5 rocks, and then into the rotation, lifting the toe up as you rock back and lifting the heel up as you rock forward. Nice work. Okay, so next up, I'm going to grab a stretchy band and just take some time to lie on my back with some space overhead so I can take the band overhead, easing my shoulders into that overhead position, having my hands wide enough that I can get the back of my hands to the floor. You could do this with both knees bent, or if it feels okay on your back, you could certainly extend one leg or both legs out. It all sort of depends on the posture and how your pelvis and back curves all sit. But find a position that's comfortable for your back, because really the focus here is your overhead shoulder position. Okay. As you go overhead, be mindful you're not shrugging. You can roll your head to the left and to the right, and then chin tuck, and all is well. Okay, bending the knees. We'll go into a set of double bridges. Because we have the band, we could lace the band across the crease of the hips and anchor the hands on the floor and just add a little bit of resistance to that bridge. If it doesn't feel right, then just put the band to the side. You can make it a little tighter if it's too easy. And the same principles of our regular bridge applies. Get the posture right. You're not arching up into your back. So as you lift, get a nice straight line between your knee, your hip, and your armpit. And you're just working this, all the hip muscles tighten up a little bit as you lift and relax the tension as you lower. We'll take it from the bridges into the band row, and I take one foot up in the air and try to find the place where my leg has that full knee extension. You can row elbows to the floor and then just adjust. Okay, do you need to adjust your back curve, the tension? Is it too easy? You could keep your non-working leg bent or straighten it out. I'm good with changing the angle of the elbows as long as you don't feel like you're shrugging up into the neck. And as I pull my elbows to the floor, I'm connecting my shoulders like on both sides, and also trying to pull my shoulder blades towards my spine a little bit. I'm not trying to overdo it. About 10 of these pulls. Talk about compound exercise. There's lots going on there. And then switching sides, refine that position for your leg. Back it off if you need to. Push through your heel. And another 10 on this side. Nice work. Now take us back to bridges. You can opt to do another set of the double bridges with or without the band, or take it to a single leg bridge position where you take 1 foot off the floor. So from the double foot position, 1 foot comes off, and you're just bridging up on that single leg, trying to keep the pelvis level. This is the challenge, and it's still a tighten of the hip on the lift and a release on the lower. I'm trying to fully extend my hip. This is not full hip extension. This is. Any higher than that, I would be into my back, so that would be bad. All right, so use the hip up, down. Let's go 6 to 10 reps on each side. I'm sure you got about 5 done while I was just chit-chatting there. Okay, so I'm going to switch and do about 6 on this side, even myself out. 6. Good. Okay, now we're going to roll back to hands and knees and work on bear or plank. The bear is slightly easier. You want to find neutral back. Spread the fingers and weight shift into your hands so that you're not just loading the base of your wrist. Tucking the back toes, you float the knees off the floor. This is the bear. Return to some nasal breathing. If this feels too easy and you'd like to go right to the plank challenge, then step back, tighten up your hip muscles, push the floor away, get a nice strong connection through your shoulders, being mindful not to let your head or hips drop. Take a little rest. You can shake out your wrists, give them a little circle, and then we'll reestablish that, either the bear or the plank. Usually 3 to 5 breath cycles is enough of a challenge for that. I'm going to take us back to the bridging. So I'm going to mix up mix up me. I'll start with the double bridges with the band. I know some folks just like to stick with the double bridges. They don't feel right with the single leg bridge yet. I'd like to say in time, as we get stronger, that those will work better. So I'll do 5 of the double bridges, and rather than keep it there, I'll take myself right into the single leg. Adjusting the posture every time if you need to. So chin tuck, low back curve, coming up as a unit, hip driven, that's where I feel the work. Okay, 6 to 10, I did 6. I'm going to take the band and return to the row, extending the leg up. Adjust the tension, check that the leg is straight. I'm going to straighten my other leg as well. Feels good. Taking the elbows a little wider, closer to the hips, but always adjusting the rep range based on how it feels. The band could be a different resistance than mine. I like to say, you usually know when you're close to the end of your reps, and rather than pushing out reps that would be causing you like tension in your neck or your back or something like that, just stop the set and move on. Here we go. Switch my top leg. I'll check that my leg is straight. I'm not sure if you can hear my stomach rumbling, but this microphone is a little close to my abdominal area. All right, no worries. I'll make it through class. I actually feel totally fine today. But, you know, the body listens. Okay, and then onto the plank. We'll do one more, and then we'll come to standing. Plank or bear. Okay, time under tension, how we get strong. Adjusting the shoulders, finding my back in neutral. Bear or step back into the plank. Tighten up the hip muscles in the plank. Breathe. There we go. Nicely done. Whew. All right, so take yourself to standing, maybe grab a little water. We're going to start off with some balance reaches. One of my favorite things. I say that about a half a dozen times a day. All right, I'm going to reach to my fireplace, kind of take some time to angle my foot, open my toes, get a good connection, slight bend in my knee, and then I've got the feedback from the fireplace that my shoulders are square, right? I'm not rotating. Taking a breath in, extend the heel to the wall behind you, about 3 per side. A little harder version would be to take your arms overhead to start, and then envision your heel and your hands moving in the same plane. That's what's nice about having some feedback from the fireplace. I just felt that my hips could be a little bit more square. Good. Second exercise is a halo and a squat. So with the halo, oh, that looks great, Shirley. Halo, I'm taking a weight that I can comfortably circle around my head, keeping my posture upright. This works on the core because you're not leaning into the movement and you're not leaning back. After one circle each way, adjust your feet if you need to, and then take yourself into a slow squat to a depth you can control. Return to the halo. For those that can't go all the way around, you could just go to an ear, but ideally all the way around, and then squat. We'll do this 5 times in total. Nice deep breathing. Challenge yourself to be like a pillar. And breathe. Excellent. Okay, the third exercise is a push-up variation. Some folks will be doing push-ups off a wall or an elevated surface. Connect the hands, step back, activate the hips, pull yourself in, trying to use the shoulder blades, push away, keeping the body in as straight a line as you can. You create the tension. So you can kind of come in like loose, or you can come in pulling yourself in. Same when you're doing a push-up on the floor. You can pull yourself down into a lower if you can't push up yet. Not just here and fall to the floor. So create that tension, pull yourself down. And eventually we work on enough of that lowering strength that you can push yourself up. Excellent. Looking good. Now, for the balance progression, you can go back to what we did before. I was balancing to my fireplace. And this time I'm taking a dumbbell between my hands and I'm going into this single leg balance hinge, and the weight goes down towards the floor. I'm only going to a depth I can control. So if that is a little bit less than the reach to the fireplace, that's okay. If you have time to practice this, with practice, you're going to be able to get into that full hinge and come back up to posture. About 3 per side, breathing in as you hinge, will create that bracing or that core stabilization that I talked about in the breathing warm-up. You just want to take your time with these, right? There's a lot going on. Foot control, balance, hip mobility, core. So, like just not to be too hard on ourselves. So if you feel like you're a little wobbly and you need a little more practice, then that's what it takes. Okay, so that's the balance reaches. We'll go back to the halo and squat and the push-ups one more time, and then we'll move on. You don't always have to have your feet in the same position for a squat. You could try something a little wider, maybe take the toes out a bit. Okay, your body is a plank, looking straight ahead, breathing deep. Work your core and shoulders. And then squat, nice and slow to a depth you can control. 5 of these. There we go. I can hear my nice deep breathing. No, you can't hear any more rumbling because the rumbling has stopped. Great. Okay, and then our last set of push-ups. Remember what I said about creating the tension yourself. Spread the fingers, create that plank connection. Usually you have a little inner dialogue of how many you know you can do, whether they're lowers or push-ups or mini push-ups. Create a successful set for yourself. Next, we're going to a press and a reverse lunge. And so for this exercise, you want to take a weight that you know you can press overhead at least 5 times. So from the press, I'm going to step back today with the leg opposite to the weighted hand, get control of my toes, and drop into a reverse lunge, and then come back to the press. So you press first, and then you step back opposite to the weighted hand. I'll show you from the side. So pressing right, step back, left. For some folks, they can get down a little lower than others. Some might want to test the front knee by going forward a bit. That's safe if it feels okay. This is generally a little easier on the knee, not to go too far forward. Get control of your balance, control down, push yourself back up. Okay, I think that was only 3 or 4 for me, but I was chatty. So, switching sides. When you press, you're not into your neck, work the up, work the down. There we go. Good. If you're doing this tape and you want to do more work, you could always stop the tape and do another set of the exercises before I move on. Open band pulls are next. You can use a band like this that has loops sewn into it, or just a regular resistance band. Feet are hip width apart, and now on a diagonal. I'm working different angles of my shoulders. Again, that reminder not to change the posture. So if you weren't thinking about it, it might be easy to go into some sort of extended posture. The difference here, knees are locked out, back is open. So you want to float your weight over your feet, not go into any extension, and work. If it's too easy, give yourself a little
more resistance on the band. About 10 of these should be fatiguing enough that you want to break. Okay, and then the last exercise is a skater. I'm going to move this mat because I can show you a skater without a slider on a 45-degree angle, tapping out. Or if you have hardwood floors, a face cloth, a furniture slider, this is the move with the slider. Up to 10 per side. Now, things to watch for. As you step out or go to the side, this knee is stable. As you come back up, full posture. If you have the slider, you can put a little pressure into the floor as you come up. You could add weight to this. You could hold a dumbbell. In fact, I'll do that for our second set. I seem to be not doing all the full reps today as I chit-chat, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. So pick a rep range that you know feels good. Always work with quality in mind. Good. That looks great. Okay, let's go back to our press and reverse lunge. Taking the weight in the right, press right, step back left, focus straight ahead, work the up phase, work the down phase. That's it. Switching sides. And then we're into our band pulls. Taking the time to adjust the posture. Could probably go one band wider, just get a nice open connection through my wrists, elbows. I'm thinking about the muscles in the backside of my shoulders, working different angles. And then I'm going to grab that weight for the sliders. Lots of different ways you could hold the weight, but this is a 10-pound dumbbell. I'm just going to hold it down by my hips. Perhaps if you add weight, you're going to decrease your reps. Maybe not. If you don't have the slider, you tap and come back up. Get creative with things around the house that you can use as a slider. Other side, match your reps. Good. I feel a nice amount of work with that exercise through my hips. Okay, we're going to go to deadlift and then some lateral balance. Gosh, where does the time go? So a deadlift or a hip hinge. So I'll have options to show with a kettlebell, with just air hinge. This is just hips back, coming up to posture, rotating palms open. If you have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, you can lift from the floor or not. You could elevate the weight on some magazines or a box. You want to make sure that you can keep your back neutral, so you're not overextending or overarching up or down your back. I like to really connect my feet, anti-shrug my shoulders, take that deep breath in, and then hinge the hips up, forward. I'm tightening up my hip muscles a little. And you can rebreathe. Take a little sniff of air in again deeply to lower down. Okay. The fundamentals of the hip hinge don't change whether you're using 2 dumbbells, a heavy kettlebell, or even you can see the Olympic deadlift bar I have set up there. The fundamentals are the same. Now I'm going to try some lateral balance, which means that I'm going to step to the side and then try to come up into a kickstand balance on the side. I was working with some clients yesterday that were having a lot of trouble with this because they just haven't worked lateral hip stability. And this is what was happening. Ideally, we want to build lateral hip stability for balance, for walking, right? Decrease the risk of falling. So when we come up, you want to try and then get the weight floating over your foot. Perhaps you need to slide your foot and then slowly bring it up and start to train the brain to what you want to do. You could be beside a piece of furniture or holding a dowel for safety and for a little bit of help. And I'll switch sides now. Step out, hips back, up. You can have your arms in like an athletic position, out to the sides, in a opposite, diagonal, whatever helps you work on creating that connection through your base foot. Nice. Okay, 5-ish per side. Let's go back to the deadlift. I'm going to show a version with the 2 weights. So, connected through my feet. Inhale, hips back. Weight goes to my knees or just below. Open up. Got the dumbbells. I can rotate the palms. Inhale, hips back. Exhale up. I'm rebreathing. Maybe another inhale as I go back. The breath is something that's practiced and can change based on the imposed demands. Okay. Now I'm lifting 16 kilograms from the floor. The hinge looks the same, but now I'm really setting my back and breath before I lift. Rebreathe, lower down. This kind of weight, a little different than 2 10-pound dumbbells. So the imposed demand less, the tension to how much intra-abdominal pressure, less, more. Okay, let's do the balance one more time, and then we'll finish with a carry and a hand transfer. Okay, so step, connect. As you step to the side, be mindful you're trying to get your hips back, as opposed to knee forward. Puts a lot of stress on the knee. So step to the side, hips back. Come up to that balance. Okay. That was almost a bad demo. And then other side, hips back. What's going on in the foot? Are you scrunching all the toes? Can you open those toes? Take a moment to slide and lift. Maybe you needed that balance support. That works. Still good. Use the balance support a little. Take your hand off. Oh yeah, you got it. And back. Okay, so you're just finding ways to modify the exercise to work on improving. Okay, so here's a 10-kilogram kettlebell. I'm going to hinge back and pick it up with one hand, and then start to walk forward carefully, transferring the weight from one hand to the other. Trying not to move my posture by sinking into the weighted side, right? I want to control and work my core muscles. Now 10 kilograms, 22-ish pounds, not even the weight of a suitcase. I know a lot of my strength students like to travel and carry or pull or grab off a luggage carousel weights heavier than this. So we do need to continue to increase the amount of weight that you're doing something like this to decrease the risk of injury when we're doing anything, including travel. Hey, that's class for today. So thank you so much for joining and building a stronger version of yourself. I really appreciate it.